afternoon, dear boys and girls. I hope you are all fine, and I believe that the online classes are very useful to you all. Today we are going to study fourth unit, Prose the Attic, written by Satyajit Roy. Let's see about the author, Satyajit Roy. Satyajit Roy, 1921 to 1992 was his time period, was an Indian filmmaker. Filmmaker means movie maker, screenwriter, graphic artist, music composer and author. He was born in Kolkata. He authored several short stories and novels meant primarily for young children and teenagers. He revived the children's magazine's Sondage, which his grandfather had started in 1913 and edited it until his death in 1992. Roy was more interested in writing rather than filmmaking. His stories have been translated in Europe, the United States, and many other countries. Roy received many awards, including 32 National Film Awards by the Government of India, notably the Padma Bhushan in 1965 and the highest civilian honor, Bharat Ratna, shortly before his death. Dear students, let's see about the short summary of the lesson. The author and Mr. Aditya were friends as well as business partner. The author or the narrator. The author and Aditya both were friends, and also they were the business partner. The author and Mr. Aditya were friends as well as business partners. Aditya's native place was Brahmapur. After 29 years, Aditya wished to visit his native place, so the friends went there. Aditya went to his school. First, he found everything had changed. Then they had tea at Nagan's uncle's shop. It was unchanged. At that tea shop, they noticed Sasanka Sanyal. He was living in a friend's house after the demise of his wife and son. Demise means after the death of his son and wife. They went to Aditya's ancestral house. Ancestral means his forefather's house, which was ruined. That means almost destroyed. Aditya went to his room where he was living in those days from the attic. Attic means you know that a room or a space is built within the roof is called attic. He took out a silver medal from the attic. He went to Sasanka. He offered 150 rupees to him. Sasanka refused to take the money. Aditya gave him the medal. In those days it was offered to Sasanka for recitation. The medal reaches its real owner of Sasanka. Dear students, let's learn the lesson line by line. It is natural for human beings to make mistakes. When we realize our mistakes, we should try to rectify them. Dear students, kindly take your textbook and just you see where I am reading. It is natural for human beings to make mistakes. It's nature. As a human being, we make mistakes. When we realize our mistakes, but after committing a mistakes, we should try to rectify them. That means we need to set right. Again, we should not to do the mistakes. If you get a chance to rectify your mistakes or pay back for it, if you get a chance to rectify means to set right yourselves. So what would you do and how would you correct it? This is the question that they have asked you. In this lesson, Aditya and Sasanka Sanyal both are friends. While they are studying in the school, Sasanka Sanyal got a medal, a silver medal for his recitation competition. Aditya, he went to Sasanka and he borrowed his medal to see, but never returned to Sasanka. This was the mistake that Aditya did. So Aditya at last he realized and he hand over the silver medal to Sasanka Sanyal. So this was the things that we are going to study in this lesson. So dear students, if you also have borrowed or you have took anything from others, that means you should realize your mistakes and you kindly rectify. That means you set right. Don't do any mistakes. And also if you could have bought anything from anyone else, you kindly hand over or return to them. So that is the good character that we need to learn through this lesson. So just I'm going to read and explain. Kindly you listen to me. Aditya and I were returning from the site of our new factory at Deodarganj. Aditya and I is none other than but it is the author or the narrator. Understand? The author is represents as I. He narrates, he started to narrating the stories. So Aditya and the narrator or the author were friends and also business partners. Earlier we have studied in the short summary. So Aditya and I were returning from the site of our new factory at Deodarganj. Deodarganj is a place name. So both were returning from the new factory site. We were driving along National Highway 40. They are driving the car in the National Highway 40. We had reached a point where the road bifurcated. Bifurcated means where the road separates into two, a right side one road and left side one road. That is called bifurcated. That is the meaning. If you drove 10 kilometers along the road that branched off to the right side, we would reach Brahmapur. So if they take a right side and they go 10 kilometer, they will reach Brahmapur. That is the village belongs to Aditya. I asked, that means the narrator or the author asking Aditya whether he was interested in revisiting the place of his birth. So the author was asking, you wanted to visit your birthplace? Then which he had left after he had passed the matriculation examination from the local school. So he left the village after completing the matriculation school to continue his studies in Calcutta. So from that time he left his village and he went to Calcutta to continue his studies. So when I left our ancestral house 29 years ago, so almost Aditya left his ancestral means his forefather's house 29 years ago. Okay, the house was almost 200 years old. Aditya's forefather's house was 200 years old. Recollected Aditya. I doubt it if even the school building. So Aditya wanted to see his ancestral house as well as his school building, which may have undergone many changes, will be recognizable anymore. Trying to revive old childhood memories may prove disappointment. So he wanted to bring back his childhood memories. So he wanted to visit, but he said he wished to visit the tea shop of Nagan uncle. So while they studied in school, they used to have tea at Uncle Nagan shops. So he wanted to visit there. If it still existed, if the shop is still existed and have a cup of tea there. So Aditya wanted to have a tea at Nagan uncle's shop, if there is a shop means. So we took the turning to right. So they decided to visit his ancestral house as well as the school building, and also they wanted to drink tea at Uncle Nagan's tea shop. So they took right and decided to drive to Brahmapur, of which Aditya's ancestors were once jamindars. You know jamindars. Jamindars means a people who have a lot of land. Understand? Is called jamindars, a land lawyer. Aditya's father had left the ancestral home and moved to Kolkata. Aditya's father had left the ancestral home and moved to Kolkata, where he had set up his own business. After his death, Aditya was looking after it, and I was his friend and business partner. So here, the business partner, Aditya's friends tells that Aditya had left the, I mean Aditya fathers had left the ancestral home and moved to Kolkata, where he had set up his own business. For a business reason, he went to Kolkata. There he settled down. So after the death of Aditya's father, Aditya was looking after it. He was maintaining the properties, and I was his friend and business partners. It was the month of Maha, that is January, February by the English calendar, the middle of winter by my watch. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. The sun was soothing, that means it was a pleasant weather. On either side of the road were paddy fields. As far as I could see, only paddy fields. Harvest was over, and there had been a good crop that year. So it is like a natural scenery they have seen both side of the roads. So as much as there I could see the full paddy fields they have enjoyed on their eyes. After about 10 minutes, we came to the local school. So the first they wanted to visit the local school where Aditya have studied. Beyond the iron gate where the playing field, there is a gate, and behind there is a playing field and two storied school building. It's like a storied school building, like a ground floor and up another, and it was two-storied school building. We got down from the car and stood in front of the gate. I asked Aditya whether everything was still the same. He replied that everything had changed. So the author asked to Aditya, was your school is still the same or it has changed? Then Aditya says that it is completely changed. Our school used to be one storied. That means only now it was two storied building, and new building has come up which wasn't there. Were you not a good student? I asked. Yes, but my position was always second, he replied. We decided to go and have tea at Nagan's uncle tea shop, which stood next to a grocery shop, and opposite a temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. Soon we caught sight of Nagan's tea cabin written on a signboard over the shop. The owner of the tea shop, now over 60, a little rustic in appearance, that means like a village people appearance, with his white, neatly combed hair and clean look, was the same as before. He was wearing a dhoti and a blue striped shirt that could be seen from under a green shawl. Not recognizing Aditya, he asked us where we had come from. Deodarganj, Aditya replied, we are on our way to Kolkata. A little surprised, Nagan uncle asked why we were there. To have tea at your shop, said Aditya. Certainly, beside tea, I have biscuits and savories. Give us two nankatai. Nankatai means like it's like a biscuit each. We sat on two tin chairs. There was only one other customers sitting in a corner table, neither eating nor drinking tea, but sitting with his head bent as though he were sleeping. Addressing him as Mrs. Sanyal, Nahan uncle reminded him to go home as it was already 4 p.m. Other customers would soon be coming. Addressing us, he said with a wink in his eye, a little hard of hearing, cannot see well either, but has no money to buy spectacle. From his reaction to his speech, I began to wonder whether Mr. Sanyal was not a little crazy as well, because suddenly he stood up, stretched himself, and raising his lean right arm, and with eyes dilated, began to recite a poem by Tahur Pandraksha, keeping a promise. Having recited the poem, he left the place, making the gesture of namaste with his hands to nobody in particular. I noticed a sudden change in Aditya's expression, and I asked him the reason for it. Without answering me, he asked Nahan uncle who the gentleman was and what he did. Dear students, Aditya and his business partner, they decided to visit his ancestor house as well as school building, and also they wanted to have tea at Uncle Nogan's shops. So they took right, and they first went to the school. They found that everything have changed, because while Aditya was studying, it was one storied school, but now it was two storied school. Then again they found Nagan uncle tea shop. So there they met Sasanka Sanyal. Okay, just so now Nagan uncle was over 60 years and he couldn't recognize Aditya, but Aditya is asking about Sasanka. Nagan uncle replied, Sasanka Sanyal, what can be done? He leads a cursed life, gone crazy, I think, but has not forgotten any incident of the past. Sold his lands to get his only daughter married. So he lost his wife and only son last year. Since then, he is somewhat changed, not really normal. Where does he stay? So when Aditya asked what happened to the who is that Nagan, I mean he asked who is Sasanka and what was happened to him. Then Nagan uncle replied that he sold his land and he sold his land to get his only daughter married. So and also after sometimes he lost his wife and also only one son. Last year only recently he lost. So he was living a cursed life, he says. Then where does he stay? Asked Aditya. He stays with the friends of his father's Jogesh Kabiraj. Sasanga comes here, has tea and biscuits, and always remembers to pay, having an acute sense of self-respect. But how long things will remain like this, I don't know. Then Nahan uncle says that he is staying with his father's friend Jogesh Kabiraj, and also every now and then he comes to my shop and having an has tea and biscuits. Then he is not forgetting to pay every day. What are the things that he eats? He trying to pay. So this is what Nagan uncle says. Then, having paid our bill and hence ascertained means like confirmations, making confirmations. The location of Jogi's Kabiraj's house. We got into the car. Aditya was at the wheel. Wheel means, that means Aditya is driving. He expressed the wish to visit his house. So you do want to see your house after all, I said. It has become essential to do so, Aditya replied. His nerves seemed overwrought. So Aditya was a little, like overwrought. For some reason, we soon reached the house, which was surrounded by high walls. Even from the ruins, one could easily imagine how grand it must have been once upon a time. The house looks like a big house, a jamindar house. We entered the building, climbed up the stairs, and reached the attic on the second floor of the house. This was my favorite room, said Aditya. So, Aditya's favorite room is attic only. The attic has always been a favorite with the children. It's in the attic that the children seems to be in a world of its own. So usually the children attracts are mostly like to spend from in the attic only, and the attic seems to be in a world of its own. A portion of wall of the attic had crumbled down. That means it fell down, and through the window that had been created, we could see the sky, the fields, a part of the rice mill, and the spire of the old temple. In the whole house, the attic had probably been the worst hit by the wind and weather. The floor was strewn with twigs and straw and pigeon droppings. That means pigeons' wastages. Among other things, there was a broken cricket ball, bat. There was a broken cricket bat, the remains of an armchair, and a wooden packing case. Aditya got on top of packing case and pushed his hand inside the ventilator. Fan, no, from the roof, thus upsetting a sparrow's nest, a part of which fell to the ground. However, he heaved a sigh of relief when he had got what he had been looking for. He was trying to actually Aditya took a silver medal from Sasanka, but now Aditya came to visit his ancestral house and he is trying to search only his silver medal. So after getting the silver medal, he relieved when he had got what he had been looking for. When I asked him what it was, he said, "You will get to know very soon." So the author asked, "What is this?" Then Aditya said, "You will get to know." We next went to the jewelers to find out the weight of the article. They wanted to check the weight. The jeweler maker that it was an antique. Our next stop was the house of Jogis Kabiraj. Though I was a little curious, I didn't ask Aditya anything. So the author was a little curious. So, but he didn't ask anything to Aditya. We entered the house and went to the room where Sasanka Sanyal stayed. Sasanka uncle was busy reciting verses from Tahur. When he had finished, Aditya asked, "May we come in?" He turned and faced us. "No one visits me," he said in an unperturbed manner. "No one visits me," and he asked, "Would you mind if we come in?" "Come in," Nagan uncle says. Then, except for a charpai. Charpai means only except like a kind of mat. There was nothing else to sit on. Chair or sofa or nothing is there. Only a mat is there. So we remained standing. So they remained standing means they were only standing. "Do you remember Aditya Narayan Chaudhary?" Aditya asked him. So Aditya asked, "Do you know Aditya Narayan Chaudhary?" Then, "Of course," said the gentleman. The, the spoiled child of affluent parents was a fairly good student but could never beat me. He was extremely jealous of me and he used to tell lies. I know, said Aditya. He then took out a packet from his pocket and handing it over to him said, "This is for you from Aditya." "What is it?" he asked. "Money." "Money? How much money?" 150 rupees. He has said that he will be happy if you accept it. So dear students, Aditya, he took out money and he gave to Sasanka Sanyal. Okay, he is telling that Aditya only gave, this is for you. That's how he is trying to give money. Okay, that means Aditya took from the silver medal. Instead of giving the silver medal to Sasanka, Aditya trying to gives money 150 rupees. Let's see what Sasanka says. He has said that he will be happy if you accept it. Shall I laugh or cry? Sasanka says, shall I laugh or cry? Aditya has given me money. Why this sudden generosity? Why he is giving money? Man does change with time. Perhaps Aditya is not the same Aditya as before. Then Aditya alone says that Aditya have changed by the time. A change, I got the prize. He could not bear it. Then Sasanka says, now only dear student listen carefully. I got the prize. That means I got the silver medal for my recitation competition. He could not bear it. That he could not bear Aditya. He took it from me to show his father and never returned to me. Aditya was cunningly made plan to get the silver medal from Sasanka. He said that, hey Sasanka, you give me your medal, I will show to my father, then I will return to you. But he never returned to me. That's why Sasanka says that he took it from me to show his father and never returned to me. Said there was a hole in his pocket and it had fallen through it. This is the price of the medal. It is yours. Then Aditya says, in his pocket there was hole, so through that hole it was fallen. So this is the price of the medal. It's yours. So instead of giving the medal, he says that this is the price of the medal. You just take it. Sasanka Sanyal was amazed. He stared at Aditya and said, stared means looking carefully, and said, the price of the medal, that could not be more than 5 rupees. Then Sasanka says that is not more than a 5 rupees. It was a silver medal. Silver is now 30 times costlier than before. He is asking questions. Really, I had no news of that. But Sasanka, uncle, looked at the 10 rupee note in his hand and then looked at Aditya. There was a completely new expression on his face. He said, Aditya, this smacks too much of charity, doesn't it? We remained silent. Sasanka Sanyal found that you are the Aditya. Okay, then they were remaining silent. Peering intently at Aditya, Sasanka Sanyal smiled and said, I had recognized you at Nagan uncle's tea shop by that mole on your right cheek. Mole, for we easily identify a person like a mole scar. So when you came to see the Nagan uncle's shop, there itself I have found you, or I have recognized you through that mole on your right cheek. I could see you had not recognized me, but you didn't recognize me. So I recited the poem. So that's why in the Nahan uncle's tea shop, I recited the poem. I had recited on the prize giving day on purpose. For purposefully, I have reminded you. On hearing that recitation, you may recognize me, or you will return that medal to me, so that you may remember. Then when you came to visit me, I couldn't help venting my anger on you. You have done the right thing. Your grievances are absolutely justified. But I will be happy if you accept the money, said Aditya. Then Aditya says that your anger is correct only. I only made a mistake. Okay, so your grievances are absolutely justified. So kindly accept the money. Then Sasanka Sanyal shook his head and said, no money will soon be spent. I would have preferred to have the medal if it were possible. So kindly, I don't want to take money. Kindly, if possible, you return my medal to me. I would have forgotten that unpleasant incident of my childhood, and also I forgotten that my childhood memories. If I could get the medal back, Sasanka Sanyal, what he is trying to say is, I don't want to I don't want your 150 rupees. If possible, kindly give me that medal, because if I get that medal, I can bring back my childhood's memories. This is what he says. So the medal that had been hidden in the attic for 29 long years was eventually restored to its owner. Then Aditya, he went to his home and he was searching in the ventilator room, no, from the attic he took, no, that is none other that this is the silver medal. So 29 years it was in the attic only. So Aditya took that medal and he gave to the Sasanka Sanyal. The medal reached its real owner, Sriman Sasanka Sanyal. Special prize for recitation in 1948 was still clearly engraved on it. Translated from the Bengali story Chilkoda. Understand, dear students, in this lesson, Aditya have taken the silver medal from Sasanka Sanyal and he said that he will return, but he didn't return. Then after coming to the Nahan uncle's tea shop and seeing the Sasanka Sanyal's, his life, then he realized that he wanted to rectify that. So he went to his ancestral house. He found the silver medal from the attic. So he came to Sasanka Sanyal and he returned the silver medal to him. So this is what the lesson that we learned from the lesson. So kindly, dear students, if you could have borrowed, or if you might have taken anything from your friends or anyone, kindly return their property to their only. Understand? Okay, dear students, I have given you 2 more questions and paragraph questions. Kindly study and write in your assignment note. Thank you.